It was a close race, we were told. Well, they're now telling us it's carnage. 20 seats the Liberals have lost or thereabouts. The count is still on, but it's quite clear now that Anthony Albanese will have a mandate to govern in his own right. On a very basic human level, this is a great change. He's obviously a decent guy. He's authentic. We're not going to hear reams of lies and spin and rubbish every day from him and his media allies. We're not going to have to endure the daily propaganda funneled through the PMO. There will be a bit of that under Labor. They know how to play the game too. But fundamentally, we have a more competent team now in place. So the good news is this is good news. It's good for Indigenous recognition, which is already happening. It's good for women. It's good for no more fake national emergencies like Peter Dutton's secret Chinese warship off the coast, or spy ship rather. It's good for the economy that we won't have incompetence and crony capitalists running it anymore. It's good for minorities, persecuted minorities like the Biloela family, who'll be able to return home finally. It's good also that the Teal independents, the Climate 200 crew from Simon Holmes Accord, has done a terrific job. It's good that they have made such an impact on politics. The move to the Greens, the shift towards the Greens, the swing to the Greens is undoubtedly a good thing too, because Labor gave up some skin to the Greens, but the Greens, it predominantly captures a younger voting demographic. They are the future. They are more progressive on climate. They're more progressive, of course, on wealth redistribution. Just have a quick look at the politics of this. The Teals is a good thing, but they're not allied in their interests with either Labor particularly or the Greens. Yes, they are as one on climate action, and they will put pressure. Even though Albo is governing for Labor in his own right, there is no universal mandate just to do what they want, because Labor policies at the moment are a bit Liberal light. You know, we've got $200 billion promised in stage 3 tax cuts for wealthy high-income earners. We've got a lack of action on climate change. We've got more than 100 new fossil fuel projects on the boil when global authorities are clearly saying to Australia, no more new fossil fuel projects. We have billions coming in export income already. We have more than enough fossil fuels by a huge multiple to service Australia's energy networks. But just to capture a couple of the differences here, the Greens and the Teals are not on the same page. The Teals, to their credit, are going for integrity in politics, a better deal for women, and of course climate action, as the Greens are. However, the Teals are generally wealth preservation. When you look at the seats that they've got, we're talking wealthy, white people, right side of the track, 9 out of the 10 richest suburbs in Australia. You know, the Toorak's and the Vaucluses, the Bellevue Hills, Palm Beach. These are the sort of places that are now run by the Teals. So good on them. And they will represent their communities. But don't you worry, while they're saving the planet, they'll be saving their franking credits and their negative gearing too. This is about wealth preservation for them, as it should be, because those are the communities that they represent. But that's certainly not on the agenda for the Greens. So there's going to be some tension there because the Greens represent younger Australians mostly. Just a couple of points on Labor's primary vote. Yes, Labor's primary vote is low, 32% or thereabouts. And people have made a lot of this as giving a greater mandate to the Teals and the Greens. And certainly Albo is likely to govern with a touch, at least, of consensus. But a lot of it was, and we're getting a lot of feedback on this level, people strategically voting, people who knew that they were in Goldstein or Kooyong and they had no chance of Labor getting up but wanted a change, and so they voted for the Teal candidate. On the other side, of course, the right of Australian politics has completely fractured. It's been wonderful to watch the hand-wringing in the Conservative ranks, and you've got a few on the Murdoch media side now trying to suggest that the problem was that the Liberals were too wet. They were too woke, too leftist, too latte sipping, that they should move to the right. And so there's a push on now to move to the right. And of course, Peter Dutton is touted as the next Liberal leader. I'm sure many on the progressive side will say, bring that on, because Dutton is probably unelectable. We certainly hope the ABC decides now finally to stop interviewing Matt Canavan and other people who don't believe in climate change. The one issue here, which is going to remain, is money in politics and cronyism. That will not go away. Labor is just as funded by the fossil fuel corporations as the Liberals and National parties are. It is going to be a problem. Pressure will need to be brought to bear in order to effect change in those areas. It's a great start to the new era in Australian politics. But the fight for a clean energy transition, the fight to get money out of politics and to have politicians represent people rather than corporations is still in its early rounds. And so we'll leave you with a list of political fatalities, those who will no longer be with us